What's up, Amazon sellers? Are you having problems getting started on Amazon USA? Well, in this video today, I'm going to share with you some of my answers to the most common questions that have been asked to me about getting started selling on Amazon USA. Stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson. I've been selling on Amazon now, doing online arbitrage for the last 5 years. In the UK, I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller. Check this out. And in the USA, we started about 12 months ago, and already I've done 500,000 and we did 100,000 a month. That's a 6-figure month, which I'm super happy about. And obviously, hopefully to scale to 1 million. Now, hopefully also as well, in the near future, I'm going to expand into another marketplace. And if you're interested in learning how I'm doing it, what I'm doing, and what I'm learning my journey, do make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Now, before I jump into the content, let me just tell you that this video is going to be something different from one of my normal videos. Now, the next chapter, I'm going to be sharing with you some extracts from a YouTube live. Now, every Monday I do a YouTube live whereby people can ask me any questions. And so what I've done is I've taken out all the USA related questions and I've put it together into this video today based on the questions people are asking me about getting started selling on Amazon USA. Now, you might be asking why I've created this. Well, basically, this is to give you a guide as to what are the common questions new sellers and what problems they're encountering, which you can also learn from. And by going through this video, which is a compilation today, I'm going to share with you and give you an idea of the certain issues which are being raised by other sellers and hopefully solving them for you as well in advance and obviously helping you scale your business. So what I'll do now is I'll share with you a list of snippets, compiled questions about getting started on selling on Amazon USA from other sellers starting now. Right, regarding starting to sell in USA, what is the minimum cost to start selling, all costs included? Great question. I think I kind of did an analysis the other week and just stay there. Let me have a quick look. I'll pull it up. Then I know we've got it kind of right. I think originally I said quite high, but we kind of brought it down to about $650. So the reason why I say that, and let me just kind of make sure I'm get it right, is we said you need a virtual office address. So in the US, obviously, if you've got a business, you need somewhere registered and they need to be able to receive mail. So virtual office address are generally about $400 a year. That's $400 to set up, and there'll be an additional cost every year you've got to pay. And they'll basically get your mail, scan it in, send it to you. And they'll also give you an EIN number. And then on top of that, you need to get what's known as an ITIN, but we don't need to. We recommend getting one. That's about another $100 if you need to use an agent. And then the final one is about $80, say, for example, for a business license. And it says it all in the course. It explains everything, like how we've done it, what we've done in the costs. So total cost $600. I think that's the answer.
What is the minimum you recommend to start in the USA? What is the minimum amount you want decent? What is a decent amount? Look, at the end of the day, I think if you're going to start in the USA, you're going to need if you're going to do the course down there, and that's I recommend doing that. You're going to need $600 setup fee. You don't need to do the accounting straight away. You can wait. The accounting is about $1,000 a month, but you can wait until like towards the end of the month. August, September is when you start having to do that. Long story short, if I would probably guess, I'd probably say minimum about 5K. Why? Because it takes about 2 months to flip, 30% ROI on 5K. Yeah, if I'm doing 5K, I should be able to do this in my head. 5,000 times 30% ROI. Yeah, 1,500. So it's about 2 months. So in 2 months' time, you're going to make 1,500. So your first month, you're basically just going to pay, or the first 2 months, you're going to pay for the cost of setup. Then you've got to make some more money. And then really like 5K, if you can go in with 10, I think you're in a much better space. Ideally, you want to go in with 10 and then be able to put more and more in. The reason why I talk about this is like e-commerce is not like you can just start with £200 or $200 and then make to 10,000. Like there are inherent costs of doing the business, i.e. tools. And then in addition to that, you're making a margin on the product you're selling, but that product you're selling eats cash. So if you're making 30% ROI and you've only got $100, you're only going to make 30% ROI. And by the way, you're going to make $30. That is, you're going to make that over 2 months. So it's that $15 per month, which is like nothing. I would really recommend having probably at least like 5K to start with, but ideally like 10. But if you and by saying like that, it's available capital. So there's no harm in starting with like set up 600, do another 1,000, test the model. Fine, you're happy, cool, and then go in and test a lot more. I don't say start with like 1,000 straight away and that's it, or start with 10,000 straight away. Test it, make sure you fully understand it, everything's working, then throw fuel on the fire, i.e. money. Hope that makes sense.
Which is the best state to register for Amazon USA business in? Great question. Have a look at that down the bottom there. There's a FastTrackFBA.com, start selling Amazon USA. Or you can go to the FastTrackFBA website, go to courses, and you'll see getting started on Amazon USA. Graham, I know you just want the one answer for this, but trust me, I've answered that question. I've got screen shares of setting up. I show you how to do two-factor authentication. I show you how to do the new corporation agents. I show you the bank account to do everything, everything that I've learned about. I show you how to top tips and tricks for overcoming cancelled orders, which are really important because you're going to get lots of them. US is really high. I think last week we spent, we're better at it, but we still had probably 15% cancelled orders last week. It was actually pretty high, but we've learned that. So there's so much we've learned. And for £100, it's nothing. Just buy the course. It's honestly, do it. It will answer that question. Hi, is it possible or advisable to change the legal entity of an Amazon USA selling account from UK USA to USLC once the business has been trading for a while? I don't know if it's possible. I don't think it would be. I don't think it is. I would speak to Seller Central. I don't know the answer. I looked through Seller Central forums, the US and UK. The way you need to think about it is your Amazon selling account is physically part of the entity which created it. So my Amazon selling account is part of the entity which, say for example, FastTrackFBA. So we're FastTrackFBA Limited, UK. So if I had an Amazon selling account, it would be part of that company. If a US company buys the company, well, now another US LLC owns FastTrackFBA Limited. So the company still exists. It's only, I think, maybe if you did a merger that happened. You'd have to ask Seller Central. So in theory, it could. The only exception whereby you can move accounts from me to a limited company is because I'm now incorporating Tom Personal into Tom Limited. And Amazon will allow you to do that transition. So they have the function, but I think you need to speak to Seller Central. That'd be my advice. What are the advantages of setting up in the US, setting up a US LLC over running an Amazon business using UK LTD? Great question. So speaking to people who have done this from the UK LTD side, 50%, 60% of US retailers will not, or even wholesalers will not do business with people located outside the UK, outside the US. So immediately you're cutting your supply down by 50%, which might not seem huge because it's a huge marketplace, but I want to maximize that. So that's number one, suppliers won't do business with you. Number two is the fact that, she say for me, I'm really about, if you ever know anything about me, cashback, credit cards, rewards. That's something that I really like, and obviously having a US entity just makes that a lot easier. Yes, you can do it with a UK-based Amex card and getting the US dollar-based version. But I just think you want to get those rewards, and having a US company is so much easier. Number three, and I don't know for a fact, but I assume and I believe it would be a lot easier to get credit for your business in the US if you're a US-based company and you're trading in the US, rather than you're a UK-based company trading in the US and doing that. I don't know for a fact, and I'm sure it's not too hard, but I think it'd just be a lot easier. And so, for example, when you try and do credit in the UK, one of them asks about, are you a UK resident? If you are, it just makes life a lot easier. So the long story short is that's it. But the main one, retailers and wholesalers want to do business with US companies. That's it. So hence why we're doing that. There are more costs involved, but I think it just kind of works. Our business is growing from strength to strength, and I think personally the US LLC is the best option.
Would you say it's worth setting up a USA selling account from the UK? Are there any high startup costs? I can start with that setting. I heard set up an easy. Interesting. If you want to ask my advice, we're probably about to break 500,000 in the first 12 months, coming up at the end of this month. I think we've already done it actually. If you want my advice, create an LLC. And if you want to know how to do it, there's a course I created down there, fasttrackfba.com/start selling Amazon USA. That literally tells you how we did it, documented the whole process, everything. It cost £97. It's 17 videos, everything, emails, two-factor authentication, everything you need to know, bank accounts, cards, EIN numbers, all that stuff, everything that you want to know. And we are going to update it as well in the coming months around how to do credit. That's going to be really, really important. So now the reason why I say this is because I know people who've already started selling in the USA from a UK account, and your problem is 50-60% of the US retailers will not accept international credit cards or debit cards. So when you go into make a payment, it says, please enter your card billing details, and it doesn't let you select outside the US. It only lets you select US states, and they're just not interested. So if you are interested in like buying products to flip in the USA, and trust me, it's amazing. We're getting double margins you are in the US, in the UK. It's just, we're looking nice profits. It's easier as well and higher values. If you are interested in it, you've got to create an LLC, and the reason is for the simple fact that you're just going to have access to more of the market, like i.e. more of the retailers. And the last thing you want to do is start taking out retailers. Like, it makes it easier. And then the other one is when you create an LLC, you're now what's known as a US entity. You're not a UK person. You are not your company, and your company is not you. Because you're now a US entity, you now, let's be clear, you now have a US company, which can now get US credit cards, which can now also get US Amazon loans. If you're a UK company, it just comes a lot harder. A lot of people won't loan to you because you are not based in the US. So just be mindful of that. Like, yes, the startup costs are higher. It's about $600 you've got to do. There are more costs, but you just access more of the market and you're getting more margin. So the business will pay for itself. So I hope that makes sense.
Graham, if I establish a US LLC for an Amazon business, I'm UK based, not a USA citizen, is it possible to get a USA credit card to use in the business better than a UK credit card? Yeah, you can. It's not the easiest thing. It's the next challenge after creating the business and trading. So I'll be honest, our business right now, we use a bank account whereby we're trading with a debit card. It's not a credit card, it's a debit card. And we are in the process of trying to get set up with a USA based credit card. You've got to have, first of all, like an EIN for the business, and then you've got to have an ITIN for you personally, and then you've got to create a business account, and probably you're going to be trading on like I forgot what it's called, like a secure credit card, i.e. you put 10,000 into a credit card and then they'll give you 10,000 of credit versus against that. So you can never spend more money than you've got in the account. That's something important. So you can, but it just takes a while. You've got to get your credit rating up and build credit history to be able to do it. That's the one point. And that's if you want to try and it's a lot quicker if you're willing to go in store, like go to Bank of America and do it. That's one option. But you've got to go into the US and do it. So that's the longer way of doing it. There are some other little hacks we're trying to figure out and trying to do. So I'll update you as I go through that and once we've solved the solution or found the solution. But you can get them, but it just takes a while. But on a side note, US-based credit cards are generally better than UK. Why? Cashback and rewards, they're so much better. Like, you're talking about UK, it'd be like 1%, US would be 2%, 50%, 100% increase in your cashback. And if you're planning to grow your business, say for example, you're going to spend 100,000 over the course of the year, that's an extra $1,000 in just rewards, which really helps out. And they generally do more. Is there a minimum I can invest to start selling in deals through the USA? Let's say between, if you're going to ask me, I'd probably say you want a minimum of about, I'd probably say $5,000. You can start with less, of course you can. Like, there are going to be people who start with like $100 and made it work. But if you ask me, like, you've got to buy stuff, ship it in, sell it. It takes longer in the US. It's a big country, so I think for you I'd probably say about $5,000. You could do it 1,000, but I'd probably say you want about $5,000 to start selling. Like, this is a trading business, and I'd be silly to say, yes, you can do this. Come on, everyone. If you've only got $500, start selling on Amazon. Like, most of the time, the costs are going to eat into what any profits you're making, and you're just not going to be turning up, growing a business. You're going to be either maintaining it or losing money because the costs eat so much of your profits. So, if I had to be honest, 5,000 is probably where I want to start, which might sound like a lot, but again, it might be the case that you start with 1,000 and then you have another 4,000 on credit card. That once I'm happy with the 1,000. And I'm not looking to make profit off the 1,000, but once I understand and I can run a business and break even, but I understand how to make money, then I can go put the other 4,000 in. Now that turns into 5. I hope that makes sense.
Loving it. Hi, Tom. Do you have a USA business credit card for your Amazon business, and which one do you recommend? Not yet. We're working towards it. So let me just put it in perspective. One of the biggest struggles we have with the US is you need to get a business credit card, you need a business credit rating. And also as well, you need something else, a personal credit rating. And if you haven't got a personal credit rating, you don't technically need it. By law, you don't need it. But all the credit card providers want a credit rating personally to show that you can manage credit before you can give it to your business, which is stupid. So right now I'm trying to build up my personal credit rating, and then we'll go for business credit rating. It's a long process, and I wish I'd started this a year ago. I really did. I haven't done it. I thought it'd be easy. Life got on top of me. We didn't need it at the time, and now it's taking time. So long story short, I don't have one. Second thing is we're building a personal credit rating. We have the ITIN, and then third thing Well, then doing a business credit rating. I'm hoping 6 months, and I'm just then going to get started. I hope that makes sense. I'll release some information on it when we do it. I'll probably update that course down below and just say like how we do all that. That's going to be helpful. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. The Guapta Manish. Oh, hey Manish. Hey Tom, for USA purchase, can I purchase through most of the stores using a UK credit card, or do I need a US card? If that is the easy way to use a credit card. The course, if you have a USA entity, it does tell you about how to do USA company there. Cool. But you can, 50% of US stores will reject UK credit cards because you can't, they don't accept the buying address. Like, you know when it says please put in your address and it says enter state, it won't have non-US. It will just say Delaware, Arkansas, Washington, Florida. You cannot put a UK address in. And so what's going to happen is that when you try to put the payment through, it will fail the card authorization because the zip code and the address are incorrect versus what's on the card. So the transaction won't go through. The websites are just not set up. And we've seen it, 50% of all websites just won't let it work. Lots of people have done this. So just be mindful. That's hence why we started the LLC route.
Jump on to Sonia. Sonia, hi Tom, do you use the Amazon currency converter for USA payments? What are the benefits of the program to use a USA bank account? Okay, cool. So really good question. No, we don't. You really don't want to. Really don't. Amazon have got better, but you don't want to. Long story short is Amazon will pay out your payments. They'll pay out the payments in the currency of the receiving bank account where it's located. So let's just be crystal clear. When you have what's an IBNA, international banking account number, and that will normally start with like 2 letters. So it'll be like a GB for Great Britain. I don't know what the US one is. It could be like US, for example. Now, whatever those first 2 letters are, it will be the currency of that country. So GB also being Great British pounds. So even if I have an account in dollars and I'm cashing it out from Amazon in dollars to that account, because it starts with GB, they'll pay out in Great British pounds. And then what will happen is your bank account will convert from Great British pounds to dollars. So it's like, so it'll be like double converted. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you do it. So long story short, we don't use Amazon. We use Wise, or used to be TransferWise. And the reason why I know this is because we tried to use Revolut to do it, because Revolut have good exchange rates for business. But unfortunately, all Revolut's bank accounts start with GB because they're located in GB, whereas Wise actually give you a bank account and address located in New York, or I think it's like Belgium for the EU one. So we use that. So, but long story short, if you really want to know, also as well, my US business account is actually to a US bank account. So we don't use Wise, we do it directly to the bank account, but it is a US registered business and a US registered account. Hope that makes sense.
Do you use prep centers in the USA? What's the average cost of prep? Yes, we do. We've got a nice big list of prep centers in that course down below. Do check that out. And I tell you the one that I use, and I use prep tax-free prep centers, and I explain why. Average cost of prep, probably about $1 per item, and ship to, I think we do 50 cents. I think that's about right. Also as well, the prep center we use, don't want to use for bundles. Bundles are like insanely expensive. It's basically like, if I have a 12 pack, for example, it will be $1 per item in the 12 packs. It'll be $12 plus a 50 cents bundle fee. I was like, that's insane. Generally speaking, just in a bit of advice for you, if you think about a prep center in the US, tax-free state. And if I kind of explain why, I had a conversation with someone who's got a prep center in Los Angeles. Now, LA, I understand, has a sales tax of 10%. So in effect, what you're doing is you are building up your cost of goods is being increased by 10% by shipping to a non-tax-free state. That's it. Like really, really bad. So like, even if you're paying more for a tax-free state prep center, call it like $1 to $2 for a non-tax-free and $1 for somewhere like Los Angeles. Yeah, you're saving money on the prep cost, but you're paying 10% extra on your cost of goods. Wow, that stuff's expensive. Like, doesn't work. So no, tax-free state we always stick with. And then number 2 is the fact that about $1, I think it is. And obviously we're trying to do volume and work with it. I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people in the US. They're like, prep centers in the US are just like they're so busy. Like, if you want to go make a business, go make a prep center in the US. Trust me, you do really well. Like, they're insanely full.
Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Are you using a prep center to help you fill Amazon products? Do they have any recommendations for you? Yes, we are using a prep center. We use one so the one we use, American Warehouse in New Hampshire. Just be mindful of
I've never heard 100% positive stories about any prep center in the US. They all have problems. So we had problems with ours. Like, they were slow over Q4. It caused us a right nightmare. But they are good. They do communicate, and lots of people are using them. Just be mindful that, like, I would always probably recommend using multiple warehouses. Now, if you want to know, there is FastTrackFBA.com. Oh my God, top right. You go to courses and then getting started in USA. I appreciate you're probably already selling on the USA, but in there we have a list of prep centers we recommend as well. So, but I'm aware in New Hampshire they are a tax-free state one. If you're looking for tax, I would also just recommend dropping that into the FastTrackFBA USA group. Other people might do recommendations. It depends. If you're doing wholesale, you don't have the sales tax issue. If you are doing OA, you want zero tax-free states. So I hope that makes sense. What to look for when choosing a prep center in the USA? If you're doing OA, look for tax-free. I really, really recommend that. Sales tax is a nightmare. Also, number 2, communication. Really, at the end of the day, if they can't communicate quickly and efficiently when things are good, what are they going to be like when things are bad? And you've heard the horror stories. My prep centers hold on to my stock for 3 months now. I'm not sure what to do. I'm like, don't do that. I look for prep centers with a couple of, like 1 or 2 years history. I want online reviews. I want them to care about bad customer feedback. If I see if I see a history of good customer feedback, it means they care. And because they care, they're more likely to care about you. And if they've been in business for 1 year or 2 years, they've got a reputation to protect, and they're going to look after you and your stock. That's the thing that I care about. My God, you're giving them tens of thousands of pounds or dollars worth of your stock. So that would be my thoughts.
When do US taxes have to be filed? In the UK, it's after 12 months from the first tax year. It depends obviously on what entity you have. So that you've got like a C Corp, S Corp, or you're trading as a sole proprietor or a partnership. They're all slightly different. We do C Corp, and it's yearly, literally calendar year. So that's it.
If based in the UK and a set of company in the US, do I have to pay tax on US profits to you? Do USA have similar tax system to UK? Yeah, you've got to pay. Obviously, you've got to pay taxes. Like, you're not liable for taxes. There is an interesting thing, and we do talk about it in this getting started course here. It's about if you're a UK resident and you have a foreign entity which is controlled by a UK national, and then there is precedent that you potentially have to pay taxes, double taxation on that, because you're paying it in the US for the corporation, and then you're paying it again in the UK. Now, let's not be naive. Like, if you're in the UK and you have a UK limited company, the UK limited company pays taxes, like corporation tax, and then if you take money out as a dividend, you then pay tax on that dividend. So there is double taxation on that: corporation tax on the company, and then dividend tax on the business, on you as an entity. Now, number 2 is the fact that if you have, should we say, a US company, the US company will pay corporation tax, again in the US, and then also as well, if you pay yourself from that company, you'll then obviously pay tax on that. That's the thing. But there is a thing in UK law, whereas a double taxation, like the company should do it. It's complex. I do talk about it in this course and kind of explain why you don't need to worry about what the stipulation is around that to help you understand. So I spoke to some accountants and explained the situation. So it does say in the course there, you will get double tax, obviously at the company level and at the individual level, but you can have an external company. That is perfectly legal. That is fine.
Hi, to sell on Amazon USA when based in the UK, would I establish an US LLC? Also need to hire an accountant to look after USA tax affairs, any decisions of business out? Yeah, Graham, great question. If you have a look just down below, I put a link, fasttrackfba.com/start selling Amazon USA. It's a course we've created which does exactly what you were asking. It answers all of that. It's like 20 odd videos, every video like walk through step by step of what I've done. So I'm not a tax professional, so I can't advise like this is what you should do, but I can say what I did. So for me, I have a USA business, and we created another. So we have a UK business, and we created a USA business. We created an LLC. There's a couple of reasons why. A lot of people who I know who sell from UK LTDs into America, they say that when you're doing like online arbitrage, you just can't. A lot of the suppliers will say no, like they don't accept international clients. So that's a real problem. So that's something to really think about there, like international cards. So we want a USA-based card, And then I think in addition to that is to say also as well, like I want a USA bank account, I want USA cashback credit cards, the rewards, they're really, really good. So we created an LLC, and yes, we do need an accountant for that. And yes, they do the tax affairs, and we have a USA prep center. That's something super important.
Wow, that's great. What I'll say now is after going through all of those kind of most common asked questions when started selling on Amazon USA, you might want to consider learning about, should we say, getting started on Amazon USA. And I'll drop a playlist around here called Start Selling on Amazon USA. Check that out, I think you'll like it. Now, hopefully you'll like this. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.